Hey guys, it's YodaJoe93, and so we've been talking DC a lot lately, but with a lot of shows coming out, Superman and Lois. I just started a new DC podcast with my friend Connor. Make sure you guys check that out. I did release the first episode on my channel. It's a very different podcast to the normal podcasts I do, but I think you guys will like it because it feels like a real podcast. There's no physical people, but we have images of DC out on the background, and you hear our mic audio talking over our ideas for Brave and the Bold, and it's really cool, and I hope you guys check it out if you haven't checked it out yet. So this video is going to be, with The Flash now ending 9 seasons, it's time to rank all the main villains of the Flash storylines from the worst to the best. Alright, rounding out our list, now this is only going to be the main villains, no side villains, only main. And so, for the side villains, we have here all 12 main villains ranked from the worst to best. So I googled this, and also I have my own personal opinion on it. So we're going to look at this list, but I'm also going to tweak it my way. Remember, this is just my list. Doesn't mean it's the right list. It's just the list I personally agree, and I personally like, and I would love to hear yours. Coming in at number 12, the worst of the worst, we have the Forces. Now, the reason the Forces are on the worst on this list is because, well, the actress for Nora Allen is really good in the role. The whole mommy-daddy concept of this storyline is stupid because these actors and actresses, they're all like, Grant Gustin is in his 30s, and these actors are in their like 40s and almost like late 20s, and it just feels weird. It just doesn't work. This storyline doesn't work, and the villains aren't that threatening. Only one of them was threatening. I think his name was Shamir. I think Shamir was the only one that was really that threatening. So overall, I think that the Forces sucked, man. It just wasn't good. I did not like it. Alright. Coming in, next on the list, we have the Cicadas. Yes, I said the Cicadas because there are two different versions of them. Now, Cicada originated in the comics just like the Bug, right? It's a nuisance. And Cicada was a different kind of villain with kind of a lightning dagger type weapon that was able to deal with the Flash. Now, here's what we got to do with talking about Cicada. So, the first version of Cicada was played by Oz from American Pie, and he was the more darker Cicada. And so he was just a ruthless kind of vigilante, like, villain that was willing to do anything to save his daughter Grace. But then they did the villain swap, and Grace was revealed to be an evil with more power, but very annoying villain, and nothing really interesting comes from her. Season 5 was one of the worst seasons of The Flash, and this is why it was so bad, was because the villain swap between Grace and regular Cicada just did not work. It was absolutely horrible. It was horrible. So I was not a fan of that one. Alright, coming in at number 10 on the list, unfortunately, we have Red Death, okay? Now this is where we get into the villain from Season 9. Red Death was not good because Red Death just, unfortunately, the Ryan Wilder choice for Red Death, the writing was all over the place, and she's not a worthy, we needed more episodes, we needed to flesh this storyline out. The first half of this season was not good, and for a final season, let alone, and I get they're trying to connect Red Death with the whole Bat mythos. They teased Red Death since Season 4 and 5, and we got Red Death, but it kind of sucked. It would have been much better if we got the Stephen Amell Red Death that was talked about, that people wanted to see, or just better writing in general, and just, that's what we're talking about with these villains. It's not just that these villains are bad based on their motivations, but they're written poorly, and we're critiquing their writing because we don't get to see good writing. And in a world where there's a writer's strike, we need to praise good writing, but we also need to critique bad writing. So that's why I sit with Red Death at number 10 on the list. Alright. Coming in at number 9, we have, unfortunately, Eddie/Negative Speed Force, Cobalt Blue. Now, I was so excited for Cobalt Blue, but I was so disappointed with Barry beats him with a pep talk. He doesn't have his sword looking as cool as he does. His speed wasn't blue. This was a waste, and it was not as cool. And the whole arc with all these villains, as you see, they just kind of brought them down, and they don't do anything really exciting or unique with them. And unfortunately, the whole finale was a train wreck. But the worst thing is, they planned to introduce this villain, and it didn't deliver. It just didn't. The whole plan with him just didn't deliver, and it was really unfortunate. And it really sucks because I really wasn't a fan of that, and I wish it would have been done better. I wish they could have handled it better because it was so bad. All right, coming in at number 8 on the list, we have Eva McCullen, aka the Mirror Monarch. This was kind of their female twist on Mirror Master. So she had the mirrors. This was the villain that took place during season 6 of The Flash, as well as the first half of season 7. Now, she was a pretty interesting villain. She had some pretty good storylines going on. She's not nearly as bad. This is where the list gets a little better. She wasn't horrible on this list. She just wasn't great. So personally, I feel that I think she could have been utilized better, and I think they could have handled this a bit better. But I think she had a good storyline. Her rivalry with her former boyfriend Joseph was very interesting, and they handled it very well. And I was a fan of this storyline. I thought it was good. COVID was really the only thing that ruined it. But overall, I like this choice of the villain. I thought it was a good season villain arc. Not the best, but not nearly the worst. All right. Coming at number 7 on the list, we have Deathstorm. Deathstorm was a pretty good villain. He really just delivered on what you would want to see from this, and I just thought that they really did a good job with him. We're going to put Deathstorm, and yeah, so Deathstorm was good. That they brought in some of the Black Lantern concept here, because Eric Wallace wanted to do he wanted to do a Lantern crossover so bad, but it never got to happen. It's probably a good thing it didn't happen, because he just really didn't get to do good storylines, but it would have been interesting to see what happened. Deathstorm was cool. The twist of him being connected with our good friend Ronnie Raymond was interesting, and how it made Caitlin feel. It had good emotional payoff, good villain arc for him, but unfortunately, we just didn't get enough time in that storyline. I wish we would have got more to him, otherwise he would be higher up on the list. Alright, coming in at number 6 on the list, we have the one, the only, number 6 on our list is gonna go to, it's gonna go to the Thinker. The Thinker was really good, because he was the villain for season 4 of The Flash with Elongating Man. The last season we got Elongated Man, and he was a different kind of villain, because he didn't have speedster powers, he was just intelligent, and his powers were so good. We got badass fight scenes with him. I really liked the Thinker quite a bit. And I think this was a really good villain. The only thing that was bad was when they switched his intellect, because his brain, he would use his meta powers to change to different hosts, just like Venom. When he changed hosts, his character wasn't as good, and the actors that played Thinker just didn't know how to do it as well as the original. But he was pretty cool. Alright, coming in at number 5 on the list, we gotta give it to Godspeed. Now, a lot of people crap on Godspeed, but I think Godspeed was a pretty good villain. I think he had a good suit. I think he served a good purpose. I wish his storyline would have been a little better, but I think he did a pretty good job. Coming at number 4 on our list, we gotta give it to the one, the only, gotta give it to Bloodwork. Bloodwork is one of the best non-speedster villains. He did an excellent job in the return episode of Oliver Queen in Flash Season 9, which is the best episode. He gave us a Star Wars vibe, because this is played by the same actor who was the Doctor in Heroes, and he did so good. And then he came in, and Ramsey Rosso, Bloodwork, was able to, with his powers, he almost had like a Venom thing. Like, his final form looks like Carnage, and he was able to, like, control an entire army, but also he turned the Flash from the light side to the dark side. He had a little bit of Star Wars parallel there, and that was a great arc. I really enjoyed how that was handled. So coming in at number 3 on our list, we have Savitar. Now, some people don't like the whole Savitar thing, because Savitar had the whole thing with it being an evil variant of Barry, but I love it. I love Pizza Face Barry. I love seeing him with the messed up face in the future, and where he kills Iris. It's just a nice twist on the character. The suit is really cool. I love the blades, and he was the god of speed, even more than Godspeed. So that's why he's at number 3. I think Savitar is really good. Coming in at number 2, we gotta go Zoom. Alright, I love Zoom. Zoom was one of the craziest, greatest, scariest Flash villains around, and he really delivered, and I'd love to see a new take on him in the DC movies, because I think Zoom is so cool. Unfortunately, we were all hyped to see Teddy Sears return as Zoom in the series finale, but they didn't deliver on that promise because when he showed up, they killed him instantly, and he deserves more respect than that. He's such a cool character. The Blue Lightning, he broke Barry's back, took away his speed. He was awesome. So yeah, I love Zoom. Now, we all knew this was coming, guys. We all know who's going to be at number 1. You got to go the Flash's Joker, Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash. Now, the Reverse Flash should have been in the Flash movie because the Reverse Flash is the best Flash villain of all time, and Tom Cavanagh has brought so much life to this character in so many seasons. He was great in Crisis on not Crisis on Infinite Earth. He was great on Crisis on Earth X, which was awesome. And so he was great in all the previous seasons. All the seasons he was the main villain for, he carried the season on his back. I wish his suit could have been a little better in season 8, but overall I think the villain is great. With the vibrating hand, the badass combos, the way he talks to Barry, that first fight in season 1, it gives you such great nostalgia. So anyway, guys, this is my list of villains. Let me know your list. My list isn't the right list, it's just my list. Let me know yours in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next video. And I'll see you